And it's wonderful to see in the chat all the people from all across the world. So I was going to say here it's good afternoon, but it's for many of you it's good morning. Some of you it's good evening. I hope it's not good night yet for any of you. I hope it's all within reasonable time. But wherever you are joining us from, it just reminds us of this beautiful interconnected world that we are all part of, that we are a mosaic. And you can see Ethiopia, Kenya, UK, America, Netherlands, Switzerland, all these beautiful countries everyone is coming in from. And it's a great honour to welcome you to this kick-off event for the Global Conscious Food Systems Summit 2026. And today is not just the beginning of the summit journey, it's an invitation to reimagine our relationship with food, with nature, and also with one another. And, we know that there are multiple global crises. We have entered a polycrisis, and that food systems sit at the heart of that. And while there's deep problems all over the world, there's also a profound awakening occurring. And there's a recognition that transformation is not only technical or political, but is also deeply human, deeply relational, and deeply conscious. So this summit is co-hosted by the Royal Government of Bhutan, the Conscious Food Systems Alliance and the UNDP, and also organised with a large network of partners. It's a space to explore that deeper dimension, a space where inner and outer transformation meet. So we've got 90 minutes to be together, and we're going to split this into 3 parts. We're going to start off with a high-level conversation. We're then going to look at the summit vision and aspirations. And then we're going to explore how you can engage and be part of this growing movement. And then right at the end, we'll hear closing reflections from the resident representative of the UNDP in Bhutan. And we will conclude with a special surprise video. So that's an opportunity for you to stay the whole length if you're able. But before we begin, just a couple of notes. We warmly invite you to share your reflections and questions through the Q&A box. Now, just to take a few minutes to explain where that is, you can find it at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So if you click on the More icon with the 3 dots at the bottom, you will see the Q&A option there. And what we'd like you to do is just take moments just during the session to place questions or responses, just so we can gather up all those ideas and questions and respond to them. And please note that this session is being recorded because we want to share it with as many people as possible. But given this is the Conscious Food Systems Alliance, and not just the Food Systems Alliance, we're going to start off with an opportunity just to come back to ourselves, to come back to this present moment, to come back to life. And so I'm going to pass over to Charlotte, who's just going to ground us in this moment.
Thank you very much, Joe. We've been learning in the Conscious Food Systems Alliance what conscious food systems are in practice. And a very important element of that is embodied presence. So I'm going to invite you to have a taste of that embodied presence. And the theme of the summit is activating the heart of food systems transformation. Would you like to explore with me what that might feel like to activate our hearts for food systems transformation? So to land into our bodies a little bit more deeply, I invite you to do a little tensing of the body. You can tense all the muscles in your body, even the face, with a double in-breath through the nose, and then relax your whole body with double out-breath through the mouth. Again, do it twice together. We're tensing, it's bringing life into our cells, and relax. One last time. Feel the vibrancy of your whole body and relax into it. Sit comfortably in your chair. Feel the soil, the earth beneath your feet. Your hips comfortable in your chair, your back nice and straight, your shoulders relaxed. And you might want to close your eyes to come inward a little bit, more present inside. Let's take a few deep breaths. breathing as if you were breathing through the soles of your feet, drawing the breath from the earth, filling your body, your lungs. And as you breathe out, you send a wave of relaxation in your body. Again, breathe in deeply, feeling the nourishment of the earth, the oxygen, the life force filling you up. And offering any tensions, any anxieties back to the earth. Feel being present to yourself as we gather together. I invite you now in your mind's eye to visualize or think of your favorite food or your favorite dish, a fruit that delights you when it's in season, for example, or a dish you love that your loved ones prepare for you. How does it feel? Can you think, can you feel its taste, see its color, hear its sound? How does this feeling taste in your heart? Can you taste the joy, the gratitude for the land that has given this fruit, for the soil, waters, and sunlight that have nourished it, for the hands that have sown it, harvested it, brought it, and prepared it to you? Feel the warmth in your heart, the tingling as it awakens. Feel that this gift is not just nourishing your body, but your heart and your soul. And if you feel that tingling of gratitude, you might also feel the call of your heart to give in return, to weave a circle of reciprocity. How can you give back to the land, to the loving hands that have grown, brought, and prepared this food for you? Think about what you feel most passionate about in your work on food systems, what you care most about, what you love to do and give. And that passion, that creativity is like an offering, a seed you sow, a seed of renewal and regeneration. And all of us here are now making this offering. It's flowing from our heart, a flow that irrigates the soil of conscious food systems. This flow unites us. Our flows unite in a river that traces the path to Bhutan. And that river is enriched by the streams flowing down from the Himalayan heights, enriched with the wisdom of the mountains, the sky, the sun. This river guides us to Paro, where our Bhutanese hosts await our visit. Keeping this warmth, maybe this smile in your heart, I invite you to slowly come back and listen to the words of welcome of our esteemed hosts, whom Joe will now introduce to us. Thank you.
Charlotte, thank you for bringing us into the present moment. Before we get into the high-level discussion, I just want to, you talked about, Charlotte, about planting seeds, and I just wanted to honour the people who've led the way with CoFSA, with the Conscious Food Systems Alliance, sort of Andrew Bavarnik, Thomas Legrand, Charlotte, and the rest of the team, because you planted a seed 5 or 6 years ago, and you've nourished it and watered it and shown commitment to it and brought it to the stage where we can now take it sort of much more broadly into the world. So I just want to honour the work that has been done to get us to this point. And now we're going to move into the high-level dialogue, which I'm very excited about. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer each speaker a question, which is really an invitation just to share their insights and reflections on how we can move towards food systems that are more regenerative, just and deeply aligned with life. It's my particular pleasure to welcome a leader whose country has stood as a beacon for what it means to place well-being, nature and values at the heart of development. His Excellency Dasho Tshering Tobgay, Prime Minister of the Royal Government of Bhutan, is a global advocate for gross national happiness, a vision that challenges us to redefine progress itself. And Prime Minister, I came to Bhutan as a journalist for The Guardian several years ago to host, well, not to host, but to chair an economic conference. And I always remember the conversations in Bhutan were just so different from countries in the developed world, in the sense of, there were sessions on fruit and nuts in the forest and starting export markets, but how could we save enough for the wild animals in the forest, and how could we protect the organisms in the soil? Conversations that I had never heard before. So it's particularly wonderful that Bhutan is hosting this conference. And I just wanted to start off with a very simple question, which is, why is the Royal Government of Bhutan hosting this global summit? Why would you want to lead in this space?
Thank you, Joe. And Charlotte, thank you for setting the mood. Thank you for joining this very important session. Thank you for all your support. I have so much. Thank everybody. And Joe, I hope you bring everybody along with you when you return to Bhutan. My friends, many people may ask, why Bhutan? Why now? Why? Because in Bhutan, food is not a commodity. It is a relationship with nature, a relationship across generations, guided by the values and the ideals of gross national happiness. We respect our land. We protect our biodiversity. We recognize that all life is connected. So for us, conscious food is not new. It is how we live. You see it in our fields. Our farmers, for instance, begin with prayers to the earth. We say, the soil must be fed before it can feed us. Herders take only what they need. Communities save seeds for the next season, but also for the next generation. These are not just policies, they are habits. They are values in action. But let me be clear, consciousness alone is not enough. The world faces converging crises: climate change, food insecurity, soil loss, inequality. These are signs of imbalance. We in Bhutan feel this too. So we are acting. We are investing in regenerative agriculture. We are strengthening our water systems. We are using digital tools to reduce loss. We are linking food to nutrition in our schools, in our communities, with no child left behind, no farmer left behind. And we are looking ahead. Through His Majesty the King's vision of the Gelufu Mindfulness City, we are rethinking how we grow, distribute, and value food. What Bhutan offers is not perfection. It is perspective, a way to bring together science and spirituality, innovation and intention, modernization and mindfulness. And we come ready to learn. We need ideas. We need technology. We need partners. This summit, the Global Conscious Food Systems Summit, is not just a meeting. It is a moment to rethink food, a moment to restore balance, a moment to act with clarity and with purpose. So when you come to Bhutan, you will not just hear about conscious food systems, you will feel them. You will feel them in our land. You will feel them in our communities. You will feel them in our way of life. We thank UNDP and the Conscious Food Systems Alliance for turning this shared values into a shared action. After all, the future of food will not be secured by production alone. It will be secured through consciousness. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and for beautifully spoken, and you bring us, like Charlotte, to the heart of the matter. So thank you for doing that. And I now want to turn to a leader who has been instrumental in shaping a global vision for systems transformation. So Mr. Haoliang Shu, the UN Under-Secretary General and Associate Administrator of UNDP, has been a driving force in integrating human development with planetary health. So, Mr. Shu, you're very, very welcome. So my question is, we've just heard from His Excellency, who's co-hosting the summit. UNDP has been actively nurturing this conscious food systems movement. And can you share how the summit fits in with UNDP's broader vision and strategy?
Thank you very much, Joe and Charlotte. And thank you, Joe, for the very generous introduction. First, let me begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to the Royal Government of Bhutan for co-hosting this summit, and to Prime Minister Tobgay for his inspiring leadership and remarks. We could not have dreamed of a better country than Bhutan to host this important gathering. Bhutan's leadership in placing well-being, culture, nature, and sustainability at the center of development sets exactly the right tone for our discussions, and reminds us that development is ultimately about how we choose to live and what we choose to value. Let me now also briefly reflect on how this summit fits within the broader vision of the UNDP, the question, Joe, you asked. At its core, UNDP's strategy is about systems transformation. We recognize that today, the challenges today, right, climate, biodiversity loss, inequality, and so forth, are deeply interconnected and require integrated responses. No single ministry, right, can solve any of these problems alone. No part of society alone can solve these problems alone. So food system sits at the center of this and are one of the most powerful levers we have to deliver across the development agenda. They connect environment, health, livelihoods, and culture in very tangible ways. We also recognize these challenges cannot be solved by technology or innovation alone. They demand a deeper shift in mindsets and in values. When farmers see themselves not only as producers, but as stewards of nature, they are far more likely to adopt sustainable farming practices. This shift is reflected in UNDP's new strategic plan for 2026 and 2029, which aligns human development more closely with planetary health. Central to this effort is UNDP's Nature Pledge and its emphasis on a global value shift to transform our relationship with nature from something separate from us, for us to be exploited. Right? It's something that's separate from ourselves, that is to be exploited, to a state where our nature is a living system we're part of. So this cultural shift also means centering feminine values of care, cooperation, inclusion, and non-violence in line with the UNDP's gender equality strategy. The UNDP convened the Conscious Food System Alliance has been pioneering how to support this shift with farmers, policymakers, and the development practitioners. In less than 4 years, it has grown into a global movement, placing consciousness at the heart of the food systems agenda. It highlights how this approach can unlock real solutions and lasting change, from SEKEM in Egypt, greening the desert through biodynamic farming, right, with over 40,000 farmers, to the Savadaya Shramandana movement in Sri Lanka, empowering 15,000 villages through holistic development, and to the hustling movement in South Africa, linking thousands of consumers and farmers through a philosophy that sees food as life and sees food as life itself. This alliance, also reminds us that we need to listen to and learn from indigenous people and the local communities who have long stewarded sustainable relationships with nature. So the Global Conscious Food System Summit will be a unique opportunity to bring these efforts together with the policymakers and the global networks for collective action and investments. It will serve as a living laboratory showcasing approaches that integrate traditional knowledge, farmers' well-being, regenerative practices, and mindful consumption. To close, I would say that its relevance goes beyond the food systems. Right? This summit, that this changes, right, at the heart, and the changes of hearts and minds, right, which is what this summit is about, right? And these changes of minds and hearts, right, are essential to address all their roots, the interconnected crisis we see today and we face today. Right? So this summit, right, is taking place at a time, right, and the time has come for all of us to focus on global attention to this, to just this, right, the root causes of a lot of challenges we're facing. Right? So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Haoliang. And also, it's just so refreshing to hear such a senior leader talk about the fundamental need to change mindset and values, to see the earth as a living system, to recognize the need for cultural shift, for feminine values to come to the fore. So thank you for sharing all that. And now it's a privilege to welcome a powerful voice for Indigenous wisdom and planetary stewardship. So I want to welcome Hindou Ibrahim, who is speaking to us from St Pancras Station in London on her way to win a major award. So congratulations, Hindou. And she is the president of the Association for Indigenous Women and Peoples of Chad and co-chair of the International Indigenous Peoples Forum on Climate Change. And she's a globally recognized advocate for climate adaptation and Indigenous rights, and is vice chair of the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues. That must make you very busy all the time, Hindou. So her work reminds us that those closest to nature often carry the deepest knowledge, something that Haoliang just talked about. So Hindou, welcome. And my question is that Haoliang mentioned the importance of listening to Indigenous leaders and local communities. And it'd be lovely if you could offer your perspective of why conscious food systems are so important and what they mean in practice for you. We can talk all day about the theory, but actually it's about how do we ground them in the day-to-day. So you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Joe, and hi, everyone. It's really a privilege and great honor to be with all of you here. And thank you for the high-level speaking just before me and being with all the rest of the speakers there. And the audience, of course, because we cannot talk about the conscious food without people, and that's what Indigenous peoples does. You know, we always say that three things are vital to the survival of every life being, from the animals to the plants or to the peoples. So we need water to survive, we need air to survive, but of course we need food to survive. So I'm going to share with you a quick 5-point today. My first point is food is an identity, it is a culture, it is a practice. As the Prime Minister said, it is not only a nutrition. So for us, it is beyond the nutrition. Indigenous peoples have the local food system that are rooted in our ancestral knowledge, seasonal rhythm and respecting for the nature that help us to grow this food. I am a Mbororo person. So my people call it after our cattle, who are called Bororoji. And the name of our cattle is very culturally an identity for us. And of course, we use cattle for their milk, but we use them also for their meat. We use them also as part of our families, as part of our economy. And we use them to restore our land. So for me, it is identity, it is culture, but it is also a spiritual way. So losing traditional food system means losing our languages, our ritual, our community cohesion. So for us, conscious food system must protect and value cultural diversity, not replacing them. My second point is we need a food sovereignty, not the food security. As Indigenous peoples, we always have the food sovereignty. It's about the right of peoples to define their own food system. Remember COVID, when they closed all the borders. So the countries who used to keep the food from outside, they have been more impacted. So when you have the food sovereignty, that means you can feed your people. You cannot depend. So community must control what they grow, how they grow it, and how they consume it. To respect land, to respect water, and to only take what we need, not extractive food production. It is ensuring the dignity of the peoples. It is about autonomy and resilience, especially for Indigenous peoples and for the rural peoples. So we must shift from the global dependency to the locally rooted community system. My third point is about the Indigenous peoples and knowledge. So also, we hear from both of the speakers. Indigenous people's knowledge and science are complementary. They are not opposite. So traditional ecological knowledge offers solutions for biodiversity, for climate adaptation and sustainable land use. It is about the synergy between the Three Rio Convention. It is about how we can use the food to restore the land. Just to look at the example of the agroecology, it can feed peoples, it can restore land, but it can also empower people to get income on need. And for my community, we use the knowledge of the food as vaccine. So for us, depending from each season it's coming, then doesn't matter I'm in London today or in Paris yesterday. So when they call me that you have to take breakfast with the milk or with the beans or with whatever things because the season is starting, it can help to limit all the sickness that are coming from the season. It is a huge knowledge that the food are giving us. So recognition must be beyond theoretically, as you said, Joe. It is to protect the intellectual property right and fairness partnership of this food system of Indigenous peoples. So co-creation between indigenous peoples' knowledge holders and science is key innovation that can sustain the food system. My fourth point is the conflict that the food system must drive that we have to avoid. So conflict disturb food system, but also food and security can lead to conflict. So competition over land, competition over water and natural resources for climate change. You can just to look at the last year flood in Chad that made displaced 2 million people overnight. They lost their land, they lost their resources, and that create conflict between communities. So how we can use the food to build peace, not to create a conflict. So indigenous communities are often on the front line of all this. So we must include them in the decision making. So building of peaceful way must include equitable access to resources and inclusive governance of food system. My final point is we need a transformation, and transformation must be for the youth, for the women, and for the elders and third generation, but women must be in the center. And women are the one who are producing the food that can feed their families. We did in my organization a woman land right, and then they created not only the food, they restore their land, they have the income, they're sending their kids to school. Then it's become a holistic way of the system. And youth are key to innovation, but need opportunity. They are not giving this opportunity. So they have to get also land access and the knowledge transmissions that can allow them to sustain the food. And elders, they hold the crucial knowledge, and that must be respected, preserved, and passed over generation in the way that indigenous peoples does that. So true transformation means intergenerational collaboration and gender equity at every level. For me, the conclusion is a conscious food system is one of the nourish that not only people, but also culture, dignities, ecosystem, future generation. Because for us, it is so important to take this vision to the summit. And the summit is coming immediately after the COP 17 of the UNCCD, the COP of the land. And it is the year of the International Year of the Rangeland and Pastoralism. It is the years of the women farmers. There is not best timing to hold this summit, and we're really looking forward to make it more inclusive for everyone, and we are there to support. And thank you so much for making the voice of peoples on the ground in that opening. Thank you.
Hindou, thank you so much, and for reminding us that if we're going to change systems, it's not one element. We need to see the holistic nature of everything and put women at the centre. So thank you very much for that deep sharing. And our next speaker brings the perspective of one of the most inspiring real-world examples of conscious food systems in action. And Nana Wu is the Human Development Specialist at SEKEM, an initiative that has transformed the desert into thriving regenerative landscapes while fostering social, economic and cultural renewal, demonstrating what becomes possible when values and systems align. So, dear Nana, a very warm welcome to you. And so my question is, could you share with us how this consciousness-based approach has enabled SEKEM to achieve its remarkable results? So what is at the heart of this change you have brought about? So you're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you for this space. So my name is Nana Wu, and thank you for Prime Minister of Bhutan was mentioned about food is relationship. And thank you for Haoliang was mentioned about our SEKEM organization, very privileged. And thank you for Hindou to mention about transformation and the woman and youth in the upfront. So I take this energy also into our organization, SEKEM in Egypt. So actually I was born in South Korea, but I came to SEKEM now 7 years ago. So I live and work here also. It's my home, my workplace, it's my community in Egypt. And I just want to mention about, I'm grateful to have this kind of space. I can speak out of the hope and healing, because our neighboring country in Arab world, of course, we need a lot of prayer and connecting with our non-violence mood. Also, I just want to bring this message like before I share about our organization, SEKEM. So to feel our organization, I prepare a little bit pictures so I can share a little bit of visually where I live and what is our practice at SEKEM. So I will share my screen now. Yeah, is it working well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Okay.
working.
Yeah, so SEKEM is grounded in Egypt, and then our motto, our title is one of our mentioned motto is greening the desert. SEKEM was founded in 1977 by Dr. Ibrahim Abules. So he's our father, he's our kind of huge wing holding our organization together. And then the SEKEM meant vitality of the sun in ancient Egypt. He had a simple yet powerful vision to transform desert land into the living and green ecosystem. Not only the land, but he said it's also the human soul need to be more green and then living. So he just didn't he didn't want to just create farm or company, to create and try to produce food, but actually he wanted to create community. So economy that cares for both people and the nature. He called it economy of love. So not economy of competition or fighting with the food system or in a competition between the organization, but actually trying to really bring love, quality, and the solidarity and dignity of all these values into the food system and then company. And he's also, deep faith in Muslim. So his Muslim principles also guided him to the spiritual, religious values into the practice. And after now 49 years, this is how it looked like before and then after. SEKEM has grown into the community of around 2,000 people working across biodynamic farms and company, but also educational institutions. So what is our secret is all this, the food system or company values also supports the educational cultural initiative. So we have a kindergarten now in our community, vocational training, also Heliopolis University, the private university also. So overall, we are serving like 4,000 people within the SEKEM organization. And this is our little secret, so to say, our framework, the balance between the cultural life, cultural and human development, and then between the economical value creation and then food system. Actually, this will serve to the social transformation, which Hindou mentioned about, changing the society. But then if you see the heart of this framework, inner and individual source of spirit is in the main core. At the same time, we are surrounded by the environmental ecological element, but overall also spiritual values. So this is our framework, recently revised also. So I'm glad to share with you. This is how we work in SEKEM about changing the whole society and then our food system and also the cultural development. So now we are now moving beyond the SEKEM farmland and our company, but we are also working in the rural area, which Haoliang mentioned before, about 40,000 farmers in Egypt. So they are now transitioning to the organic biodynamic farming all over the Egypt also. We work with the women and children, also well-being and health program. That's how recently I moved more direction towards working with serving the health and well-being. So, last week, our financial office, he said, he's a financial manager, but he mentioned about SEKEM. SEKEM is like a love poem for the earth and humanity. Somehow, it touched me about financial manager of the SEKEM company mentioned about our organization is like love poem. So I just want to share this quote by him with you. So with that, my task as a human development kind of organizer or coordinator, my question, I started my journey as an artist, but then I had this question about how can you create real social transformation from within food system or economic system, political system, but what is this within transformation? It can really impact onto the system. Or furthermore, how can you integrate artistic kind of self, not only art as a painting and then drawing and art, but what is the artistic self can also contribute to the organization development and society. So that was my personal journey. So now I will just share some pictures how we work. So 10% of the working hours at SEKEM, all our employee farmers or educators and financial manager, 10% during the working hours, they have this human development program. So I will share some pictures of how it looked like in ground in SEKEM. This is our farmers also working in the desert land. This is a woman from the villages. We learn about inner development and health and well-being. So they become a health coach for our employee also. This is also a teenager who's working in our organization. Yeah, so I mean, within short time, I just want to have a glimpse of how the SEKEM secret is about. This 10%, if you can imagine in UNDP and anywhere, 10% of working hour you can really dedicate into the inner development and human development. And this is an image from Ibrahim Aboulesh. He said he bought in the very beginning, 1970s, red tractor and then grand piano. And he always telling me, Nana, this food system change, working and economic, of course, people need the money, but actually our organization, heart of our organization is about the inner work, more movement or more music, more colors and relationship. So that's we joined CoFSA from 2021. I was privileged to be represented in this human development program, to be part of CoFSA network, because we are looking for people who's also valuing piano and then tractor together. This is how we want to also contribute into the Conscious Food System Alliance. There's more and more people, both is very important. We can be practically practice in our ground. So system can change. This was very short kind of glimpse of the SEKEM. So I'm very glad to join this Global Conscious Summit in Bhutan. Our CEO, Helmi Aboulesh, will join there. Hopefully I'll be there with some of our colleagues together.
Nana, thank you. One of the joys has been just watching all the comments come through in the chat about this deep sort of appreciation for all the work you do and how inspiring it is. So have a quick look at yourself. I'm sure you get lots of this, but it's always nice just to see, what an inspiration SEKEM is and how you support others who also want to make this journey by showing what is possible. Thank you to all our speakers. We're now going to sort of experience the spirit of the summit by showing a very short video which just sort of gives us a deep idea of what the summit is. And when we come back, Charlotte is going to take over and just really take us into a deep dive about this summit and how we can integrate ourselves into it. So let us watch the video.
Land does not belong to us. We belong to the land. Land is a living being, living soil.
And today, that belonging carries responsibility. In a time of unprecedented loss and uncertainty, how can we come together to respond to the call of the land urgently and wisely? Civilizational renewal and regeneration starts with food systems. Real transformation begins within each one of us in how we relate to one another, to the land, the water, the soil, and the food that connects us all. Transformation begins in how we align with our decisions, with our deepest values.
Consciousness is key for transformation of the planet and transformation of food systems. So we have set up the Conscious Food Systems Alliance, which is a fast-growing global movement to cultivate inner capacities amongst practitioners, farmers, policymakers, focusing in on values, mindset shifts, emotional awareness, and inner transformational skills, all of which are key for systemic change and regeneration.
I am pleased to share that Bhutan is joining hands with the Conscious Food Systems Alliance and the UN Development Programme to co-host the first ever Global Conscious Food Systems Summit.
From 31 August to 4 September 2026, Bhutan offers a unique example of a nature-friendly food system where well-being, happiness, spirituality, and culture actively guide food systems sustainability.
I invite you to join us for this critical and timely summit to co-create regenerative, healthy, equitable, and deeply conscious food systems pathways.
This will be a unique, transformative experience, blending consciousness practices and heart-to-heart connections with interactive discussions and stirring testimonies in one of Bhutan's most inspiring venues, surrounded by sacred mountains. Come, be a part of a growing global movement and co-create conscious food systems together with leading innovators and change makers across governments, civil society, indigenous and farming communities, academia, philanthropy, and spiritual traditions. Together, we will explore how to integrate inner transformation for real food systems change in areas such as food production, governance, finance, and consumption. Each of us carries a seed of the emerging future, and together we can help it take root and flourish. Let's come together in Bhutan to activate the heart of food systems transformation.
So Charlotte, over to you.
Thank you very much. Wow, I'm curious. How are you feeling after having heard these amazingly inspiring speeches, illustrations, also this video? Is your heart activated? We're going to be asking you this question through a mentee. Noemi has just put in the chat a link, so don't type to, oh, actually, that's also one way of doing it. You can write in the chat, motivated, excited. You can also write in the mentee. We're going to build a word cloud together. So go there, find that link. Noemi posted it, type your word. And now we're going to listen to Toma and Jimena tell us more about the nitty-gritty of the summit, and we'll see what word cloud we create together after this conversation now on the practicalities. So
yeah, thank you, Charlotte. So we're going to Thomas Legrand, and he's the technical advisor to the Conscious Food Systems Alliance, and he's been instrumental in shaping this summit as a living participatory process. Before we hear from Thomas, a quick invitation to you all. As you listen to what Thomas has to say, please feel free to share your questions in the dedicated Q&A chat box or in the chat if you would like. And because what we want to do is make sure that when you leave at the end of this conversation, that you feel that you're connected into the purpose, the vision, but also the practicalities of this summit. So Thomas, let's go over to you.
Thank you so much, Joe, Charlotte, everyone. Such an inspiring moment to be with you today to celebrate our kickoff for this Global Conscious Food Systems Summit, and in particular, the launching of the registration process. We have been working very hard to be ready for this moment with the support of many of you, and we are moved by the feeling of inspiration and hope we know this summit represents for all of you. So it builds on the work we have been doing with the UNDP-convened Conscious Food Systems Alliance over the last 5 years. We launched it 3.5 years ago. It's a fast-growing global movement, integrating culture, values, spirituality, and inner development into everyday decision-making and practice in our food systems. We know, as shown by this iceberg model, that mental models, mindsets are really at the basis shaping all food systems. And we know that it's recognized as the most powerful lever for systemic transformation. So this Global Conscious Food Systems Summit will advance a new paradigm for food systems transformation that recognize the role of culture, values, spirituality, happiness, and inner development for systemic change and regeneration. And what we want to do with this summit is to catalyze movement building, collective action, and investments to integrate this inner dimension of food systems transformation in international, national, and local agendas and actions. So a few summit objectives, really to elevate our narrative on the role of consciousness, culture, values, and mindsets as key levers for food systems transformation. Demonstrate how inner transformation and consciousness-based approaches in practice can concretely accelerate the shift we want to see to healthier, regenerative, and equitable food systems. We'll be also providing inspiration and guidance to countries for accelerating their food systems transformation. And we'll be deep diving in Bhutan's inspiring food systems, in particular the role of culture and spirituality for sustainability. So what we aim to generate through this summit is a framework for conscious food systems with a vision. We have never defined so far a vision for conscious food systems. That's what we'll be doing. Some guidelines, how to implement that in practice, many inspiring case studies, and share also what we have learned with the Conscious Food Systems Alliance over the last few years, and also share recommendations, especially how we want to take our way forward with this global movement on conscious food systems. So this will not be a traditional summit that some of us are used to. It will be a very transformative experience. We'll bring very interactive, very experiential. We'll bring consciousness practices like meditation, nature connection, ritual, arts. We'll have space for very deep, intimate sharing in sharing circles, and it will be a lot of interactive dialogues. Quickly, the program that is shaping up, 31st of August will be an optional day for field immersions, an opportunity to connect with Bhutan, nature, culture, and spirituality, meet farmers, explore conscious food systems in Bhutan, or even visit the famous Tiger's Nest Monastery. 1st of September will be a high-level segment focusing on igniting consciousness for systemic transformations with heads of states, very visionary leaders, inspiring testimonies and experiential sessions to explore conscious leadership and the deeper purpose and values behind our global conscious food systems movement. Then we will dive on conscious food systems in practice with in September 2nd with stories from all over the world, showcasing innovative models and practices, highlighting in particular healing, how to cultivate inner capacities, what this means for the agroecological transitions. On September 3rd, in particular, in the morning, we'll look into Bhutan as a living laboratory for conscious food systems, exploring how the culture, spirituality, and the philosophy of gross national happiness is shaping a nature-friendly food systems in Bhutan. And we'll also hear testimony on indigenous wisdom, regenerative practices from different parts of the world, before concluding on September 4th with how we can grow this movement together, we can scale our impact through policy, governance, collaboration, before concluding with some shared commitments and celebrations. So we are very happy to be releasing today a first set of key speakers. We have heard some of them already today. His Excellency Tobgay, the Prime Minister of Bhutan, Hindou Ibrahim. We'll have also Mary Robinson, who is listening to us right now in an airport. His Excellency Yanten Funcho, the Minister of Agriculture and Livestock. We'll have the CEO of SEKEM, the CEO of Dilmati, people coming from the grassroots and representing the Asian Farmers Association, Esther Penunia, Melissa Nelson, Indigenous leader, the Sarvodaya movement, who's also mentioned, Christine Wamsler, leading scholar in this field. And we'll be also joined by online speakers. We'll have Otto Scharmer, Christiana Figueres, Thomas Hubble, working on collective healing, and we'll have amazing master and mistress of ceremonies. We can move to the next slide with Joe, that I don't have to present anymore, and Pema Chodron Tenzin, author of the Bhutan Ultimate Food Guide. So we'll be looking into many different themes touching on production, policy, consumption, indigenous wisdom, women leadership. They are all detailed in our call for submissions, which whose deadline is 31st of March on Tuesday. So if you want to propose a session for the agenda, please answer by March 31st. So why join us in Bhutan? In a word, become a conscious food systems leader with a capacity to integrate this agenda into your work. Nurture your inspiration and confidence to step up as a conscious food systems leader. Learn from existing examples how to integrate this in your work. Connect with a global network and build collaborations. And finally, be part of this historical gathering in a unique, beautiful setting of Bhutan. So we know many of us will not be able to make it to Bhutan because of barriers, in particular financial barriers. But it's important to stress that these 5 days in Bhutan is just a part of a broader process that starts before with preparation and continue after the summit. And we want this process to be very inclusive and really activate together the heart of food systems transformation. So we'll be shaping together through a broad participatory process a shared vision for conscious food systems. We'll be engaging also all members and their communities and their network to activate the heart of food systems transformation and co-create the way forward for conscious food systems. So we'll be presenting that to you in May through a specific session. We'll also offer the possibility for people to follow online and discuss online some sessions of the summit. And for now, you can spread the word through our social media toolkit that is available on the summit website. So we have been really humbled by the support we've had from many of you, and many leading institutions in the food system space are part of our global advisory committee. I can't name them, but you can find them you can see them here and find them on our website. We'll have also a global engagement platform with so many of you involved. And for us, it's very warming and meaningful to see so many of you offering your time, your work, because of what this summit represents for you. And finally, our funding partners, we are grateful to the Fetzer Institute, the Robert Hall Family Foundation, and the McKnight Foundation for their support for this summit. So we hope we'll make it together an historical gathering. Thank you.
Thomas, thank you very much. And it's wonderful to see the comments of how excited people are about the possibility of joining and what this summit represents and how it can act as a sort of guide to so many people now and in the future. So we're going to now, I'm going to ask Jimena Gomez to take over, which is, that's the broad themes of the summit, but obviously people who want to join will want to know more detail. How can they sign up? How can they get there? What are the logistics? What's involved? So that's the nitty gritty, which is as important as the vision. It's great to have a vision, then we have to ground the vision in reality. So Jimena, do you want to take us through? Continue to ask your questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and then we will have a session answering those after Jimena is finished. Jimena, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So now I invite you to take this virtual journey to Bhutan, especially to Paro. We will have 2 spaces hosting us with 1 transformative experience. In the first day, we will be at Dungarzong, a very traditional space where we will be surrounded by nature and sacred mountains. And we will be hosting the first high-level section of our gathering. And this place has a lot of symbolic meaning, and it has traditional architecture, and it's very, very powerful. And then from the second day until the last day, we will be together. We will be moving to the Tui Blue Paro Hotel, which is a hotel also located near the river and very close to the paddy fields. So these two spaces hold a common spirit in welcoming and connecting us to a special moment and a special place. So now we are very excited to be at this moment unveiling the website, the official website for the summit, which I invite you to now visit. This will be your one-stop shop for the summit information, and you will have different sections there that we will be constantly populating as we move towards the gathering in September. So you will have a glimpse of the agenda that Thomas just shared with you. You will have access to the full list of speakers, which will always be constantly growing. And we will have different voices from all of the sectors joining us, and you will be able to learn more from them and their bios. We will be sharing a lot of information on the logistics. Traveling to Bhutan is very special. And so there's a lot of different types of considerations that you need to be aware of. And of course, all of the ways to get involved and act and be part of this community. And of course, if you have any questions, you can check the FAQs. And then the most important thing is that today we open the registration. So we really invite you to go and check that out. Of course, spaces are limited. We really receive a lot of interest from many different angles and sectors, angles of the world. So we're very excited because we will be hosting you, and we will also have to select who can come, because we need to curate this experience in a way that we can ensure participation from a diversity of sectors. So you can see here a little bit of the criteria that we will be taking into consideration. Of course, the relevance to the summit core themes. We will have, we'll try to have as much as geographic diversity and representation as possible, and of course, sectorial presentation. And of course, we would like to have different gender balance and different sectors included in the discussions. And people that are really willing to step out of the comfort zone and design really creative and full senses sessions, which could be reflected in the call for submissions that it's going on. So we have to be really honest with you. We have been doing a lot of resource mobilization, and we have limited resources in order to sustain the implementation costs. So there is a participation fee that will be enabling us to support the delivery of the summit, and especially the venue, the cost of the venue, the meals, the technical production, the exhibitions. We will have also Bhutanese cultural programs and everything that relates to the coordination. This will not include any costs related to human resources, so it's basically focusing on the implementation costs. So we have designed an inclusive participation model with different tiers of pricing that you will see here and are also described in detail in the website. We are particularly interested to share with you today about the subsidized price that is considering the participation for participants that are residing in middle and low income countries. So in the registration form, you will be able to apply for the different tiers, and I will go into more details about how the registration process will work. And then we, of course, invite all of the supporters that are able to pay an extra to enable the summit to become more participatory and inclusive. So you can check out all of the details in the website. There's going to be the optional immersive experience during the first day, the 31st of August, that Thomas mentioned, and that will be an optional experience for you to choose at the registration stage. So what's included in the price and what's not included? So we have the entrance fee, the daily meals to be provided while we are meeting at the venue, and that includes 2 dinners as well. There is a visa application fee, and the organizers will be taking care of the visa process. So it's also the coordination. And the sustainable development fee, which is around $100 per day, which is a contribution from the Royal Government of Bhutan to this summit, is waived. So it's included in the price. And the transportation from the hotels to the venue during the full 4 days. And what's not included is, of course, the international travel to and from Bhutan, the accommodation costs, the airport transfers. You can have different taxi companies that are available in the airports to be able to use. There are 2 dinners within these 4 days that are going to be outside of the summit program, and then of course any extras during your stay in Bhutan. Now, just to, we invite you to really go to the website and check out the register here section in the top right corner. So the first would be submitting your registration, which is very simple to do. After that, as we just said, the organizers will be reviewing the application, considering all of the criteria that we just mentioned. And then you will get a notification of approval with the instructions for the payment. We envision around between 7 and 10 days between the application is received and you can be approved. And then the organizers will start the visa coordination. So we will start communicating bilaterally with you to coordinate the visa and all of the documentation. But it's important to note here that you will already have to start looking at flight itineraries, because for the visa, one of the documentations needed is going to be the desired travel itinerary. And then, of course, only after the visa is approved, we encourage you to book the air travels and the hotels as well. So this is a little bit what I just said. This is supported entirely by the organizers, the visa fees included. So we start the visa process after the payment has been completed, and only then once you get the visa approved, you will be able to book the air travel. But there's this small detail to consider, that for the visa process, you will be requested to already start looking at an itinerary. Of course, the way that we are managing for the summit, because this is a visa process that is special for the summit, participants will not be able to enter the country before the visa entry date. There's also, as I mentioned, the sustainable development fee that will be waived for the summit associated days. And if you would like to extend your stay, you will be able to do that once you are in the country. Once you have entered the country, you would be able to modify your visa application autonomously, changing from non-touristic to touristic visa. And the total maximum stay is 90 days, counting the summit days. But in that case, of course, the sustainable development fee will apply. And important to note also that for staying and visiting Bhutan, it is mandatory, as per touristic rules, to hire a licensed travel guide that will accompany you into your visits. So all of this information you can find in the website in the Your Stay in Bhutan section. Now, in terms of air travel, the air travel will be arranged by the participants. Please consider that there are 2 companies flying to Paro, and then this is high season during the summit period. Is high season in Bhutan, so we recommend you start looking at itineraries and you book flights as soon as your visa is granted. There are multiple transit cities. You can find all of this information in the website. Some may require visa. And if there are any problems with availability of flights, the organizers will be able to support. We will be in touch with the travel companies, and we will be able to eventually, if needed. So in terms of the accommodation, this is also arranged by the participants, and we also encourage you to inquire early. There is a selected list of 10 hotels that are part of the summit. You can find them in the website. The rates change according to the category, and we really encourage you to select these hotels because then you will be benefiting from the transportation to the venues. Yeah, you can find all of this information in the website as well. And it is possible for you to come with family or friends. The visa for them is going to be autonomous and a separate process through the official visa site. And you will have to comply with the tourism regulations like the sustainable development fee and hiring a licensed guide. So if you have any questions, we will be at your availability, and you can also check the frequently asked questions in the website and email us. And I wanted to really mention the faces behind all of this, is making all of this possible. This is the CoFSA Secretariat. We have all been engaged in this endeavor, and we're really excited about this. And so I wanted to show the faces. You will also see here the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock from Bhutan, who are our key partners, and we are really grateful for them to host this with us. And you will also see the team from the UNDP Bhutan that are also very, very much behind all of this. And finally, the local event management company, Bhutan Global Mindfulness and MICE team, working a lot and really, really making the best of this experience for all of us. So here I stop, and we can have a few minutes for answering any questions. Over to Joe.
Thank you, Jimena, for all that information. And yes, so we've got a bit of time now just to look through the questions and just answer any. So Jimena, I don't know who in the team has been keeping an eye, but it'd be great just, obviously we can't answer everything now, but if there are any sort of particular patterns of questions or any categories that have come up that is worth answering now, recognizing, of course, that people can get in touch individually afterwards, and the website may also answer some of the questions. So I don't know if anyone in the team has been monitoring those so far that can just jump in.
Yes, maybe Joe, we've been keeping a good tab on all your questions. Thank you very much. Actually, I think many have been answered by Toma and Jimena as they were speaking. There is one question about how many people will we be coming together? And also there was a question on Bhutanese participants, and I think it's a good opportunity to emphasize how this will bring an international community and a Bhutanese community together. Maybe Jimena, you want to say a bit more about that?
Thank you, Charlotte. Yes, we are expecting to be able to host between 300 and 350 participants. So we encourage you to start your registration as soon as possible because it's a really limited space. And we are also in the website, in the registration section, there's also a separate registration process for Bhutanese participants. You will find all of the information that is special for applicants from Bhutan in that section. And so just to mention that we will soon also launch a national engagement strategy for Bhutan. So we will be also hosting small consultations and events in Bhutan to take this process wider and broader with every stakeholder that would like to join us. Thank you.
And I do want to emphasize, because we're getting questions about, sponsorships and fellowships, and this is the most painful part of this process. It's unfortunately not feasible, but that is why we will also have a very engaged online component, like ways of engaging before, during, and after the summit. Please don't see the summit as the only thing happening. It's a broader process, which you're all invited to co-create. So, and another question that has come up previously was about submissions. So many of you are already submitting, which is wonderful. We are very inspired by what we're receiving. There are not that many slots for these workshops in the actual agenda, which is why we will be weaving all of these submissions into a holistic design where you might, be invited to partner with others. And all of this will be taking shape over April and May. And so,
anything, does that cover us for now before we move on? Great. So Thank you. And of course, this is what we're doing is creating a global community. And so, of course, the online segment is very important because it gives people access. And also, for those who can come, it offers just such an opportunity to, we talk about being relation. So it's all about relationships, to be relational, to learn from each other, to spend time with each other, to laugh, maybe even to cry together. So for those who can come, I think there's that huge advantage of being personally present, as we all know. And obviously, sometimes that's possible, sometimes that's not. But to guide us into our closing reflections, it's my pleasure to welcome Mohammed Yunus, who's the resident representative of UNDP. And he spearheads UNDP's work in Bhutan, which spans a wide range of development spheres, from advancing climate action to environmental protection, biodiversity conservation, fostering innovation, strengthening inclusive governance and access to justice, youth entrepreneurship, and championing women's empowerment and gender equality, and more. So, as you can imagine, Mohammed is very, very busy. And since he became the resident representative in 2022, he has worked closely with the Royal Government of Bhutan, breaking new frontiers and pushing the boundaries of development. So, Mohammed, a very warm welcome to you.
Right.
Colleagues and friends from around the world, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Kuzu Zampula, as we say in Bhutan. Thank you very much for joining us for this very inspiring kickoff event today. As we close this kickoff event, allow me to express my sincere thanks to the government of Bhutan and to the Prime Minister for his personal leadership in engagement. In fact, when I first discussed the idea with the Prime Minister, he was very excited, and he said, this topic speaks to the DNA of Bhutan. So that excitement, and I had an opportunity to mention this also to His Majesty the King, equally excited about the summit, but the cause that the conscious food is leading worldwide. So our thanks to the government of Bhutan. What we witnessed today is truly inspiring. We see a global community coming together to reimagine food systems, not only as production lines or markets, but as living systems shaped by values, consciousness, and collective responsibility. UNDP is pleased and honored to be a co-host of this landmark summit. As today's discussions highlighted, Bhutan is not offering a model of perfection, as the Prime Minister noted. What it offers is a perspective, one rooted in culture, spirituality, mindfulness, and inner development. Our speakers today illustrated this beautifully. We heard from the Honorable Prime Minister about how Bhutan food system reflect deep respect and care for nature, how Bhutanese farmers have long practiced mindful production, respecting biodiversity, soil health, and ethical consumption. The Associate Administrator highlighted food systems sit at the center of today's pressing challenges, from climate change to biodiversity loss to inequalities, and that these challenges cannot be solved by technology alone. They demand deeper shift in mindset and in values. We heard from Ms. Hindou Ibrahim about how conscious practices are embedded in the indigenous and local communities in Chad. And we also heard from Ms. Nina Wu on the immense possibilities that arise when values and systems align. These insights are not just ideas, they are building blocks for the conversations we will carry forward into the summit and beyond. In the months ahead, our shared work will deepen. Together with CoFSA, the Ministry of Agriculture of Bhutan, farmer groups, youth, and our global partners, we will co-create the summit pathways, shape meaningful sessions, and design an experience that is inclusive, forward-looking, and grounded in consciousness. To everyone who joined us today, thank you for your participation and commitment. And thank you for believing that transformation is possible. When development is anchored in intentions, in compassion. Together, let's move forward mindfully and with intention on the journey to the summit in Bhutan and beyond. But before we close, let me also share with you what Bhutan will offer you beyond the formalities of the summit and the formal sessions of the summit. So please make sure you have some additional time to explore the wonders of this beautiful country. Bhutan has something for everyone. If you are passionate about nature, Bhutan offers some of the world's most stunning landscapes. Here you will find yourself deeply connected to the environment in ways that will leave a lasting impression. If you're a bird enthusiast, Bhutan is the perfect destination to observe rare species in their native habitat. With nearly 800 bird species, the country stands out as a global hotspot for bird watching. If hiking is your passion, you will discover countless untouched peaks to explore, including the iconic Tiger Nest Monastery. For those of you who are drawn to culture and art, Bhutan's distinctive traditions and vibrant heritage will captivate and inspire you. In Bhutan, you can immerse yourself in the daily lives of local farmers. Enjoy delicious traditional dishes. For those of you who enjoy stargazing, the pristine and picturesque valley of Ha will give you an experience that you will never forget. And there is so much more to discover. So I very much look forward to receiving you all in Bhutan for the summit. And we look forward to working with all of you as we advance this very noble cause of conscious food as articulated by the speakers before. So with that, thank you so much. And Tashi Dilik.
Mohammed, thank you so much. I think you should also join a travel agency because I think after that, everyone will want to come. So thank you for all the work you do for UNDP in Bhutan and for all the work you're doing to help bring CoFSA and Bhutan together. We're coming towards the end, but I just want to go back to Charlotte for a moment because, as you remember, we did a Mentimeter near the beginning, and it's horrible to do these things then for them to disappear into the void. Charlotte, do we have a version of it to see?
I think Noemi has prepared it for us and she can pop it up on the screen. we would like you to have the final words. And we started having this beautiful harvest when already in the chat. But yes, there we go. Hope. God, do we need it now, right? Hope, inspired, connection, inspiration, gratitude, and in smaller, excitement, peace, belonging. That is a very important one. You'll be in a community you feel you belong to. Nourishment of many kinds, physical and spiritual. Called. Ooh, awe. Wow, there's so much there. I think we need to take a picture and place that somewhere you can all see it, maybe on the summit website. Thank you all for helping us co-create this event and looking forward to co-creating more of it, more of the journey with you. Thank you, Joe.
It's a pleasure. So just before we close, one last little surprise, because Mary Robinson, who's the former President of Ireland, the former United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights and co-founder of Project Dandelion, who will be coming to Bhutan to join the conference, has just produced a special video, which we just got arrived yesterday. So we're going to just close by showing you that. And just to thank so many of you for staying the whole length of this. Thank you for all your commitments, your enthusiasm, your support, this sense of that we're not individuals journeying, but we are a tribe coming together to create transformation and show what is possible and bring the world back to a deep sense of ethics and community and love. So thank you all for joining, and let's now just finish off by seeing Mary Robinson's video.
That we will be discussing in Bhutan, because I'm very excited about food consciousness that we will be discussing in Bhutan, because I have learned that those who are close to the land, close to understanding that we are part of nature, have so many lessons to teach us. I've learned that in Ireland, where we have a Project Dandelion Ireland. This woman-led global initiative on climate justice is also centering down into my own country. And we're looking at diverse ways in which we can produce more food locally. And it's very interesting to see when we talk about food sovereignty, we're talking about the social dimensions as well. We're talking about the fact that this involves young people, it involves poor communities, it involves migrants in Ireland. And I'm really very excited about it because I'm learning so much. I'm learning about agroecology. I'm learning about horticulture in Ireland. I'm learning about community gardens, about allotments in poor areas, about what it feels for young people to engage with the land. And really, I hope that this first summit on food consciousness in Bhutan will lead the way to an understanding of how important it is that we remember we are nature, that we love the land, that we love food production of the local kind that is also a social endeavor in community. That's the important thing.
Well, thank you to Mary. So we promised we'd finished, or we said we would finish after 1.5 hours, and we're 1 minute over, which I think we, if you can forgive us for that. So just to say again, thank you everyone. We hope to see as many of you as possible in Bhutan, and to take this movement and to strengthen it into the future. So thank you all for joining, and hopefully we'll all see each other at the end of August of 2026. Goodbye, everyone. And lovely to see all the thank yous in the chat. Thank you for joining us as well. All round thank yous.